Hello, you're watching Awani Global with me, Soraya Mia.
Now today in this episode, we will be speaking to the first Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Ukraine, His Excellency Andrii Sybiha. And we will be discussing about rebuilding Ukraine after about 28 to 29 months since Russia invaded the nation, as well as what's next for the war-torn nation. So first of all, I would like to introduce you to our guest, as I mentioned earlier, His Excellency Andrii Sybiha. Thank you so much for being with us on Awani Global, sir.
Good afternoon, madam. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you today.
Yes, I hope that you are doing well. And of course, we understand that the situation in Ukraine right now, under the conflict, it hasn't been easy. So I really appreciate you being here today, especially with updates on constant shelling and constant missile attacks every day in Ukraine. I would actually like to get your views. You know, it's been about 29 months since the Russian invasion of Ukraine. What have been the major changes and challenges faced by the country so far?
Madam, that's not a conflict, that's a war against Ukraine. To be more correct, and thanks a lot for your question. Let me start with words of expressing gratitude. With expressing gratitude to Malaysia, to your government, to your great people, to your society for strong support, for principled support of our territorial integrity and sovereignty, for your humanitarian assistance, and we do really appreciate this. And also using this opportunity, I want to express my deepest condolences to all those who have lost loved ones as a result of tragedy and crime MH17. Recently, we commemorated the 10th anniversary of downing of Malaysian flight MH17. So once again, condolences. So, madam, today we have 884 days of our resistance, of our fight against Russia aggression. We are fighting, we are defending our land, we are defending our homes. So the main challenge and the main strategic goal task for us to stop Russia war, to achieve comprehensive, just, lasting peace for Ukraine, for Ukrainian people, to restore our sovereignty, to restore our security, our territorial integrity, and of course to protect our people. That's the main goal for us. And also just to understand the scale of this challenge, the front line in Ukraine is about 1,500 kilometers long, which almost equals to the length of the coastline of Peninsula Malaysia, with daily fightings. So every month Russia launches for about 3,500 guided different types of ballistic bombs and missiles over Ukraine almost every day. Russia attacks Ukraine with ballistic missiles. 97% of them are targeted at the civilian population and infrastructure of Ukrainian. Russia commits atrocities on our territories. Also, just to understand the scale of these atrocities, Ukrainian law enforcement agencies launched investigations has exceeded 136,000 different war crimes. It's a really huge challenge for us, and we need international solidarity. We need support of our allies. We need support of our partners to overcome this challenge and to achieve just, comprehensive, as I said, lasting peace for Ukraine. And also, it is important to remember, I want to remind that after the beginning of full-scale aggression, after 24th of 2022, Ukraine managed to liberate, to deoccupy 50% of occupied territories. At this stage, about approximately 20% of our territory is under the Russian occupation. Also, we managed to restrict capacities of Russian Navy fleet in Black Sea, and we managed to establish our grain corridor to continue to be a guarantee of food security in the world. So just for you to understand the scale of the challenge which we are facing now.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. Sybiha. Now, you mentioned, like almost every day of missile attacks, as well as hundreds of thousands of war crimes being investigated currently. It's definitely, I mean, I think the world definitely understands the scale of the war currently in Ukraine. Actually, personally, I have tried to dial into Ukraine, and then, there were electricity cuts, there were power outages, and due to shelling. So it's quite shocking coming from this side of the world. But, when we're talking about rebuilding, Ukraine, or the efforts to rebuilding Ukraine in more of like a international diplomatic perspective, how do we achieve that goal of rebuilding Ukraine moving forward?
According to the evaluation of World Bank and the European Commission, the total cost of reconstruction and recovery in Ukraine is almost $500 billion. Just also to understand the scale of this at this stage of this challenge for us. More than 176,000 objects of civil infrastructure in Ukraine were damaged or destroyed by Russia terror attacks or missile attacks. So we are working on reconstruction of our country. We count on the support of our international partners because it is really very difficult for one country to deal with such a huge challenge. We already conducted 3 special conferences dedicated to the reconstruction in Ukraine. And of course, in the future, we will need support in different spheres to start this process of reconstruction. But I am confident that we will manage this with the support of our allies.
Speaking of international community's roles, how has the support influenced Ukraine's efforts in the war?
We need this solidarity. We need this support. We need to influence Russia. We need to isolate Russia. We need more sanctions because by starting this war, Russia also created many or several crises: food crisis, nuclear crisis, energy crisis. So it doesn't now matter in which part of the world you are now, because now all these parts could feel and could suffer from this Russia aggression. So that's why President Zelensky initiated peace formula process, and it is a very strong Ukrainian diplomatic initiative, which is aimed to the achieving of, once again, just, comprehensive, lasting peace for Ukraine. And keeping this in mind, we need this strong solidarity of the world.
Still on the topic of solidarity as well as international community support, we know that Malaysia supports Ukraine and Ukraine also supports Malaysia, but what are your thoughts about Malaysia joining sort of other partnership blocks such as the BRICS?
We do really have very good bilateral relations. By the way, starting from the beginning of this year, our trade increased for about 8% if compared with the previous year. And it is really important to continue this positive track because it is mutually beneficial for our countries, and we are interested in developing all spheres of our bilateral relations. You see, it is a sovereign right of each country to conduct its foreign policy and to choose membership in different international organizations or bloc. The most important, not to allow for such countries as Russia to misuse their status, to engage such international organization to legitimize or justify their aggression, to prevent them, such countries as Russia, to violate international law, to force them to respect principles of international law and Chapter of UN.
Has there been any updates on the efforts taken by Ukraine towards a potential resolution for peace negotiations with Russia? What are the latest updates right now?
You see, on June 15-16 in Switzerland, we conducted first Global Peace Summit, a very successful one. Representatives of 101 states and international organizations participated in this event. And it clearly demonstrated to Russia that the world does not support its war of aggression. And we have this understanding of the importance to respect international law, principles of UN Charter. Also, it was a meeting of like-minded countries. And all the participants of the summit support the territorial integrity of Ukraine. It is really very crucial because we are speaking about peace framework. So now we started to implement the results of this first Global Peace Summit and also the preparation for the next summit. And it is presumed that for the next Global Peace Summit, representatives of Russia will be invited.
Oh, that's very interesting to know. When would this next peace summit be conducted? Where and when? Of course, it would always be great for the other side to join into tables of discussions. And also, what does Ukraine aim to achieve in the next peace summit?
So we are continuing our diplomatic efforts to achieve just peace for Ukraine. Before the next Global Peace Summit, we will try together with our partners to conduct different events at different levels dedicated to each point of the President Zelensky peace formula. Probably President Zelensky already announced that first event will be dedicated to the energy challenges. And after this, we could expect next event dedicated to the food security, because we need to deal with these challenges now. So also we will work with our partners to organize in a proper time the second or the next Global Peace Summit. Of course, we are interested to organize it as soon as possible, because Ukraine, like no other, is interested in restoring peace. So we are working and continue our diplomatic efforts on this direction.
Absolutely, I understand. Now, I'd like to discuss a little bit more about, something that has been pretty much long overdue. So what is the future of Ukraine's NATO membership?
So I have no doubt that our accession to NATO is inevitable. It is only a matter of time. It is our choice. It is our decision. It is fixed in our constitution. Now we are protecting our choice on a battlefield, so it is inevitable. And the recent Washington summit delivered a new historical step forward on this direction.
All right, like we definitely hope on more updates on this NATO membership for sure. But of course, we cannot turn a blind eye that this November, the United States of America will have the presidential election. So now, I'd like to get your thoughts about the impact of the U.S. elections on the war in Ukraine.
United States is the ally for us number one, and we do really appreciate the support of the United States to help to fight Russia aggression. And Ukraine has always appreciated strong bipartisan and bicameral support in the United States. Both parties, Democrats and Republicans, as well as both candidates from these parties, clearly understand the nature of the Russian war against Ukraine. And we do really hope that the support for Ukraine continues to be one of the topics that unite, not divide, Democrats and Republicans. We have strong support of American people, and it is also the national security of the United States and the investment in US security and global security. I mean, achieving just a comprehensive, lasting peace in Ukraine to end the war, to end the Russian aggression.
That's right. So there has been talks to say that Putin or Russia actually prefers a Trump administration. What are your thoughts on this?
You see, Russian could not decide, and they always try to make an influence on different processes in different geographies. And as I said, we are confident in a strong US support, and we are confident in our victory because truth on our side.
So no matter what, you are saying that the confidence is there that no matter what, support on Ukraine will continue.
Yes, definitely. You're right.
All right, now back to a little bit more on, Ukraine. We have been seeing on the news a couple of weeks ago, there has been a recent missile attack that actually hit a children's hospital in Kyiv. So this attack of multiple attacks actually had led to about 40 over deaths. Now, Russia is blaming Ukraine's own missile that attacked the children's hospital. What do you have to say about this?
You see, this Russia missile attack in our capital, in Ukraine, on a child hospital, it exemplifies Russian brutality and disregard for international law once again. Personally, I visited this hospital, Ahmadit Hospital, immediately after this attack. I spoke with doctors. By the way, some doctors conducted exactly in that time surgeries on small children. So awful tragedy. And Russia always lying, always try to use propaganda to accuse somebody else. But they attacked this hospital. And definitely we will do everything to if we are speaking about accountability, to bring them to accountability.
So, so far there hasn't been any updates on, the ICC case that is ongoing on the attack on the children's hospital?
So we are collecting evidences. Of course, we will deliver all these evidences to proper authorities, international also authorities. And as I said, we will do everything to bring Russians to accountability for these atrocities, for this crime also, including for this crime.
Right, Mr. Sybiha. Now, the foreign minister actually was in Beijing, and we understand that Beijing has close ties with Russia, and this was his first visit in Beijing since the war began in February 2022. So the foreign minister Dmytro Kuleba actually said that the visit is one way to stop the Russian aggression, and the discussions were also on China's possible role in achieving a sustainable and just peace. What do you think the meeting actually achieved? It was ongoing for a couple of days until Friday. So what do you think it aimed to achieve?
You see, a role of China is extremely important in peaceful efforts, in diplomatic efforts to achieve comprehensive, lasting, just peace for Ukraine. By the way, I visited China probably 1 month ago and conducted their consultations, very important consultations. Now our minister is in China, so we continue high-level dialogue with China because their role is extremely important. So it is also very important to have this direct dialogue to inform China side about all these atrocities and about the real situation in Ukraine, and of course to get their support in our diplomatic efforts. So we continue our dialogue with China also in this direction.
When you say China is a very important stakeholder in especially when it comes to achieving peace in Ukraine, how does China play a role?
They are the member of Security Council. They have strong influences in different countries. They have also strong influence on Russia. So that's why we consider that they could help us to achieve peace in Ukraine.
All right. Right. That's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for your time and for your explanation, Your Excellency Andrii Sybiha. It's a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope to be in touch with Ukraine very soon again. Now, thank you everyone for watching. I'm Saraya Mia, and you are watching AWANI Global. We'll see you again soon.